Welcome to episode 7 and the last in this series of the Let's Get Down to Business podcast. I'm your host today, Charlotte Newman, and today we have a very special guest speaker joining us to talk all about her journey in business, from how she got started as a face painter almost 30 years ago to how she has had to pretty much start from scratch and in an entirely new direction within the last year. So I'm joined today by Bylett from Follies Face Body Art. Hi Liz, how are you?
Good day. Yeah, I'm really well, thank you. How are you doing today?
I am very, very well, thank you. And it's so incredibly exciting to have you on our podcast today. And for the benefit of our listeners, would you just please kick us off on this episode with a bit of background about you and when you first started out in business?
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you for inviting me on the show. Really excited to be here. As you shared, I've been in business now for 30 years. I started off, I always knew that I wanted to do something creative. I wanted to be out and about meeting people, having fun, enjoying life. It wasn't for me an office-based job because I'm a very creative. So I was out in the high street, actually in Rochester in Kent, near where I live. And I saw some people there face painting, and I was absolutely mesmerized by what they were doing. I watched the transformation of the kids. I saw the transformation in their faces and their being as they were being painted, and the looks of delight when they looked in the mirror. It looked like great fun, really creative. And the other thing, to be really truthful, was I looked at the queue of kids and I did my sums and I thought, yeah, 2 and 2 together. They're making lots of money. They look like they're having a great time. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to give that a bash. So I just went out and bought some paints, practiced on my then boyfriend, who is now my husband, and the rest is history. So I spent just 30 years, growing, expanding all the different arms of the business that we have now. But that's the roots, and that is where it all started. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. And why did you decide to become and remain a business owner then?
I mean, to be fair, I'd always had that sort of mindset. I think that sort of entrepreneurial mindset. I'd always really admired what people did. I had worked for other people in the past, and it didn't really do it for me, so to speak. So I could see that this was something that I could start with, and then it just really built itself. To be fair, I didn't sort of set out with that intention. Perhaps my intention was to do something that I loved, earning money, and it just really grew into the business that it has become. It almost like organically, with my heart, my soul, my passion behind it. It just sort of evolved, and then once I realized that there was some real legs in it, then obviously I started really working at the business to create different sort of arms, legs of it, etc., etc. I talk about it like it is. I talk about it like it's a being, because it is arms and legs. It's like it's been my baby, as I say, for 31 years. Yeah.
No, I love that. And obviously, when we're talking about the passion behind being a business owner, is there any personality traits that you feel like makes a good leader, like a good business owner?
I think you have to love what you do. I think that's probably the most important thing. Be really, really passionate about what you do, because obviously as a business owner, you spend so much time working on your business. So it has to be something that you're loving doing. Day in, day out. You get up in the morning and yes, I want to be doing this. Particularly with my business, I'm a real people person, so that's given me the real opportunity to do that. And I think it's almost about looking at the things that perhaps your values, your beliefs, all of those type of things, the things that you love to do, and seeing where the best fit is for that, and then perhaps looking at what niches are out there, or what the market is out there, where you could actually possibly apply that, maybe for your listeners.
Well, that's exactly actually what I wanted to ask you, because in terms of your journey over the years, you've had new ventures, new ideas, which I'd love you to share with our listeners today. But how did you identify a need or a want in the market for your services each time you launched or tried something new?
Yeah, I think basically what I did there was I would I'm a very visual person. I'm very kinesthetic as well. So I feel what's going on. So if I'm out at an event or something like that, and I saw something, and also talk to people a lot. Ask questions of your customers. What are their needs, etc. And just sort of feel into what the need is for people. And then if it's something that feels good or nice or feels great that you want to do, then I would say go for that. Just give it a try. Obviously you've got to be careful about putting all of your energy into that, but that's probably why. And also I get bored very easily as well, so that's probably why it's good for me to sort of be doing different things as well at the same time. Do you know what I mean? So feel into those little niches, try them out and see how they're working, etc. And then if it's a good thing, then obviously you can start to build it and grow it. I mean, it's interesting because some things that I've launched a long time ago have sort of come more into their own now. We have quite often been sort of industry leaders in our industry, so that's another thing I would say, is be patient with it as well. It can always be on the back burner. You don't have to be putting all of your energy into it, and then it may sort of come to the fore more as you sort of move through your business. So it can be there sort of almost dormant or in hibernation, and then when you need it, you can pull it out. Or seasonal, there's so many different things around that.
I love that. And it's all about idea generation, isn't it? And would you be able to just share some of like the highlights of the last 30 years?
Oh, wow. Okay. So, well, as far as ideas go, I have so many ideas, and I have to try not to do all of them, because that's one thing I can do in business. But highlights of the past 30 years, gosh, okay. Well, I gave Richard Branson a black eye, which was one of my highlights. We've done quite a lot of work with Virgin and their companies over the years. So that was probably one of my highlights. We've worked with him for lots of press shoots and things like that. So I love doing the things like that give us the sort of, it's almost like, I don't know, it's almost like the kudos, it's almost like that, to do those jobs that are great. I mean, last year we won, the year before last, we won a gold at the Chelsea Flower Show. I did a beautiful body paint for a peony garden, and they won a gold. So that was fab to be a part of that. That was lovely. What other highlights? I body painted Katie Price. She was great. She's fun lady. That was for a press again. So that was a nice event. It's those sort of, we used to do a lot of the Disney premiere parties as well. So we'd go up, and obviously I had a team of girls, because servicing corporate events is a big part of what we've done over the years. And I always used to put myself, obviously because I was the boss, I always used to put myself in the VIP section. So we'd go around, and we did Moulin Rouge, so I met Ewan McGregor, Nicole Kidman, Nikki Clark was there. That was my highlight, the hairdresser Nikki Clark. So it's just nice I think it's one of the things that I've loved about it, is that it's taken me to places, and I've done things that I probably would not have done, and I've been paid for doing them as well, which has been a real plus as well. Also we do the cruise ships, we do workshops on the cruise ships, which are wonderful. We teach the families on there how to paint, etc. Special effects, wounds, all sorts of things. We've done a little bit of work on films, and just I think it's the variety of it that I love. And equally as much as that, I love to just do like a one-to-one training session with someone. And then I did one Friday actually, and it was a lady, and she wants to go into start a new business and that, and that's really rewarding for me to sort of be able to share that skill with someone, and have them give them a new lease of life almost, or a new project or something that they can do and they can love and earn money doing as well. So that's a really big part of what I love to do as well. So I think, in answer to your question, it's allowed me to love to do what I love and get paid for it. So I think they're all the highlights of it, really. Yeah.
Oh, that is just so fantastic. It sounds like you've had basically 30 years of fun. And
colour, fun and joy is, I mean, obviously, there is the other stuff. There's the behind the scenes, the office stuff and all of that, and I'm not the best at delegating, so I do sometimes overdo it a bit, but it's fab. It's great. I have loved it. Yeah.
Oh, and you mentioned actually that you've had, obviously, some of these events are quite big to manage. You might have a lot of people sort of on your books working for you. How would you describe your workplace culture in this situation?
Um, Workplace culture, yeah. I mean, I basically, I am a sole trader, but I do pull in help as and when I need it. And I think, I think delegation is important, and I think it's something I don't do very well. Work-based culture, I have a lady comes in and helps me with the things that I'm not good at, I will sub out to somebody else. I will get somebody else to do those things for me. But I do work, I have someone, as I say, helps me sort of office based. And then the team, I think it's really important we have a social. So we'll pull everyone together, we'll have a social gathering, and start of the year quite often, the start of 2 years ago, we'd all got together to talk about this amazing new project we got, as I'm sure lots of companies did. But I think that's really important. And it's very, I would say it's quite relaxed, because I want the people that work with me to really enjoy what they do as well. And for me, that's what it's about. People talk about a work-life balance, and I think, again, Richard Branson, I've read all of his books. He's one of my sort of icons. He says it's all life, and I think that's so true. Whether you're working or whether you're playing or whatever, I think if we can sort of create that, that's what I try and do with my teams. Is I try and create that joy, that fun, that sort of let's have a great time while we're at work, because you know, life is for me, is for enjoying. And so I think that's quite a big ethic around what we do. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, and I think that's really important, because I think many of our business owners that we work with, and even a lot of our listeners, is they start businesses probably with a passion, something they love, something they enjoy, and it can be very easily taken down something that you don't possibly enjoy. And I think keeping that love for what you're doing is so important to success in business.
I
Um,
agree with that 100%, Charlotte. Yes, definitely.
and when you talk about, I know you said like you're not great at delegating. That might be your opinion, and I don't know if your people will maybe feel the same. But what would you say are your top three priorities or responsibilities that fall on you as a business owner?
Gosh, that's a good one. Okay, what are my top three priorities or responsibilities that fall on me as a business owner? Well, I think the first thing is, for me, is to make sure that we provide a great service. Obviously it's my name, my brand that's out there. So everyone that's out there, has to follow that, sort of set criterion, provide a really, really good service. I think that's probably our top responsibility. Yeah, and then obviously ongoing from that, then there are the issues around if there is problems with jobs, all the things that go on behind the scenes. I think that's quite a big part of what we do. So if we are out a big corporate event or something like that, it's really important to make sure that the client is happy and everything's smoothed over. And I think that's why people come to us, because it's very easy. We make life in that sort of market very, very sort of easy. So I think that's really important. And then just making sure that the team are enjoying what they're doing, because obviously if they're passionate and loving what they're doing, then they're providing a great service. So it is really all wrapped around us, providing that great service. And I think that is, my sort of top responsibility. And not only a service to my customers, but also I feel I provide a service to my team as well. I feel that's a big part of it as well. So there is quite a, obviously there is it's a big responsibility being a business owner, and I won't pretend it's not. So yeah.
Mm. Well, that's exactly it. And in one of our previous podcasts, we talked about why new businesses fail, and one of them is about not having the right team around them. So, have you got any what has been your experience with challenges when it comes to actual management of people?
Um, Really, I haven't really had that many challenges because around people management. I think it's just about being truthful with people. I think it's very, very important to be really truthful with people, and just clear about, what you want from people and your expectation. I think is really important. I think if you set that out to start with, then people are clear about if they can do it, then they can, and if they can't, they don't. I think clarity is important, and truth, just being really, really truthful, and just trying to help each other out really and support each other. So as far as challenges go, Charlotte, I haven't really had many challenges around people management. We had quite a few challenges during the pandemic, but not really many challenges around people management.
That's interesting, actually. We are actually going to touch on another separate podcast about, if you are a people person or possibly not a people person, how that affects your experience. So it's interesting to know that you haven't had the challenge and you have said you're a people person.
Okay.
But aside, I wanted to touch on the pandemic. So can you share with us, what happened with your business and how that affected you? Because I know that a lot of our listeners will have been affected in different ways by that whole situation.
Yeah. So we had this wonderful, business that was doing really, really well. And then obviously the pandemic hit. And from that day, as I'm sure it did with many businesses, we were just totally, the rug was pulled out from under our feet, and we went from sort of 100 to 0 to overnight. So for me, it was a huge challenge. So that was a huge personal challenge. And I think that's something that probably, rather than challenges with other people, I think probably personal challenge in business is one of the main things that has been one of my biggest challenges. And that was obviously not caused through my own being, but through external scenarios. So I really struggled with the loss of sort of identity and business, and because obviously I was doing what I love doing every day, and then that was almost taken away from me. So I did seek some professional help. I got some help with that, and basically I just started exploring new avenues with it. I took up doing some incredible boutique artworks that I'd always wanted to do, and I moved forward with those. I had joined lots of Zoom calls and podcasts and networking, and got to know lots of different people. I was interested in the Arts Council, how they worked. So I really did use my time with that sort of passionate drive that I have to just explore what was out there and what was going on, etc. And we had from that, now looking back, I think sometimes these challenges are good for us because it gives us an opportunity to sort of step outside of the norm, maybe reflect on what we normally do, etc. Because I would have probably just carried on doing what we did, which was great. But equally, it's given me new opportunities. I've met new people. We've got this new wonderful Follies artworks arm. We've done quite a lot of work for the local councils. We've done big flower arches. We've done hoardings, etc. And one of the beauties of that for me is that it's allowed me to bring my team as well. I've been able to support my team again and bring that into what we do as well. So I've managed to share that work within our industry, which is absolutely incredible. That's been such a blessing as well. So really, really grateful for that. So although the pandemic wasn't fab, and I'm sure a lot of people would agree with that, I do believe that there are good things that have come out of that, and hopefully it would be the same with other business. And I would just say just keep plugging away at it. If any business is struggling with what to do or whatever, just keep that belief. And I think as an individual, I think that's one of the challenges as a business owner, is to keep because the buck, as you said earlier, Charlotte, you are responsible. The buck does stop with you. It is your business. So I think one of the challenges to keep that sort of belief in what you're doing, and really.
And I think it's so admirable, Liz, that a lot of people could have thought, you know what, that's it, I'm just gonna put stop what I'm doing, everything's over, and they can't get past it in a mindset way. And I love that you've been able to see opportunity and the chance to do something new and explore other avenues. And I do think that is that is very entrepreneurial. It's obviously in your blood, in your bones,
Yeah.
to be able to keep doing that, because you could have just thought, you know what, that's it, I'm done. I've
Yeah.
had my time and
Throw
I'm
the
off.
towel in, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you continue to grow yourself as a person, as a business owner, to keep giving?
Yeah, I think it's important. I mean, one of I'm sharing sort of, that's really nice to hear, that sort of feedback. I'm sharing the things that I feel I don't do very well. As obviously I do many things very well, but some of the things that I feel I don't do well as a business owner, I would say to other people, is make sure that you take that time out, so that when you do, our work is very seasonal and we're really busy at the moment. We've started our online, we've got on our online training, all our training courses are back, and we've started picking up, not only have we got the new arm, but we've also started picking up the other things. So I think it's really important to book time out and take time out to, recharge, refresh, renew yourself. And also, as a business owner, again, I think for me, it's quite easy to keep putting into the business and then forget about putting into myself. But I'm aware now when I sort of lose that balance and I have to go, okay, hang on, I need to now put into myself a bit more again. Do you know what I mean? And really sort of look after and support my own personal being. And then, they say sometimes the only way to move forwards is to retreat, and sometimes you need to step back, take that time out, and then you can sort of move forwards into the next sort of phase or whatever. Yeah.
If you could change one thing, if anything, about your journey, what would that be?
I don't have regrets, but I perhaps would have got more help in my business. I think
Interesting.
probably more delegation and more help in my business. I don't think I would have done anything any differently. And the other thing I would probably have done, looking back, like my older self talking to my younger self, is just really believed in myself even more. And, known that the things I was doing at the time, rather than questioning myself and thinking, oh, how did I do that? Was that okay? That type of thing. I think, I would have served myself better if I'd have gone, wow, that was great. You did fab, more like that, really. Yeah.
Yeah. And what sort of help did you personally struggle with, or need more support with?
Just the sort of the background running of the business so that I could be out there more doing the things that I'm good at and sharing the stuff that I'm good at and getting the support on the back end a little bit more, with things like, I would say, with things like you guys do, obviously accounting. And I mean, I have had help with that, but the sort of like, what I would say is a creative is sort of like the mundane menial tasks. I don't mean that, but you know what I mean? The things that probably I'm not spending my best time doing, if that makes sense,
100%. And I think that's one of the biggest things for especially new business owners starting out, is they feel like they need to do everything themselves. And I think it's only over time, with experience, they realize where their strengths lie, and that is probably running their business. And it's all about how much time do they spend on the business rather than in the business,
Sure.
if that makes, and getting the balance right.
Yeah.
And it's good for our listeners to have some experience from someone who's been running businesses for a long time, that actually getting help from the start on the areas that they probably don't want to do, they know that isn't their strength, actually would, can support them longer term. So what would you say maybe has been your biggest learning moment in business?
I think really last year, just to know, or just to be reminded again that, you know, even through those challenges, we've still managed to come out, on top. And, I mean, now we're doing really well as a business. I'm thrilled with, even we've even sort of come back to our old business as well. And we've got some, great new contracts coming in and that. So that's, that's been fabulous. So I'm really, really thrilled with that. Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm so pleased, Liz, that things have still worked out for you, and that you've learned lots in the last year, and that actually, we've got some really exciting things coming up. If you had one last piece of advice to give someone who is just starting out, imagine someone's just on their day one, or a couple of months into their business, and they may have started it during this pandemic. Have you got any advice for them about, what would that advice be?
I would say be courageous. Just do it. Ask for help if you need it. Believe in yourself and be consistent and keep it going. Don't give up. I think that's sort of like the bottom line. So be courageous with with what you're doing. Get yourself out there, keep at it. Just keep at it. It's very, especially for, I'm a sole trader, especially for sole traders, you can get knocked, but just, pick yourself up. And I think that just makes you stronger. And just, as I say, like with the pandemic, I just think that has sort of given us another, actually we can achieve anything through any scenario that's thrown at us. We can still come out smiling and on top. So I would say just, really, really stick with it. Believe in yourself. Know what you're doing. Know what you're doing is an amazing service that you're providing to the world. And just keep on doing it. Keep on being you and keep on shining your light.
Oh, that's an incredible piece of advice, Liz, to end our podcast today. Where can our listeners find you, get in contact with you, Liz, if they want to after this podcast?
Okay, so if you search Follies, Follies, on anything, we will come up on Google, etc., etc. But if you want to email me, it's mail@follies.co.uk.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Liz.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me to be with you today on this. It's been wonderful. Thank you. Lovely to meet both of you.
Oh, you too. So as this concludes our final episode in our Getting Started series, over the next couple of weeks, we will be bringing you some of the hot topics brought to us by our clients, listeners and loyal followers. If you have any burning business questions which you want answered, please email them over to inquiries@a4g-llp.co.uk. In the meantime, head to our social media @A4G Chartered Accountants. Alternatively, check out our website www.a4g-llp.co.uk, which is full of free tools, guidance, and plenty of food for thought to help your business start up the right way and beyond. I've been your host, Charlotte, and this is Let's Get Down to Business.